Okay. So we're going to switch into, well, I'm going to introduce myself first. I'm Ben Werner. I helped organize this event. I work at ABC Realty, C.M. Thompson House. Okay, so now what we're going to do, since we have these three breakout groups, is we're going to come back together to synthesize the knowledge we have created. So, Leon is going to be sketching. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a report from each group. You're going to tell us why you came up with this, and tell me some of what you were talking about in your group. And after we hear from each group, we're going to talk about next steps. So, who is this group? Y'all want to raise your hand? This is home ownership group? Okay. You want to tell everybody?
Here's a napkin.
Hi everybody, my name's Ellie and we're the home ownership group, and our group talks a lot about the importance of having the knowledge kind of throughout the process of home ownership, from saving up money for a down payment through the process of actually buying a home. Is that better? Okay. And then all the way through to actually being a homeowner and knowing what to do in situations where you might come across something unexpected. So our idea, we love the idea of the free little housing, free little libraries across the cities. So we chose to depict that, and it contains free resources for people to use as they're going through the home ownership process. And we also talked about kind of having these roots set down in that knowledge, which will follow you all the way through the process of being a homeowner.
What were some of the themes that came up in your group as you were talking?
So education and knowledge was a big one, which is why we have a little library with resources for people to use based on their needs. And then just that kind of that true American dream of owning a home is just so important to people, so giving them access to the resources they need to be able to do that.
Does anybody else from that group want to jump in and share?
Well, kind of the idea of the squiggly lines were creating roots in the community, or establishing roots in the community.
And the other thing that came up was not only having trusted advisors and people in your life to help you prepare to be able to buy a home, but also to stay in your home and to be able to then turn around and convey it to your children, and that cycle that creates, that wealth piece through home ownership.
Anything else before we move on to the second group? So what is the word? You had knowledge? Okay. Good?
Yep. So it's like the little library, but it's a house.
All right, so can we hear from the rental group?
No.
Sorry, this is a little hard.
Would anyone
I'm just going to kind of walk around so you guys can see it real quick.
I can text a part of the image, and then maybe if someone wants to text the other part of the image. One of them says decommodification, and it's kind of like a tree with the roots crumbling the concrete underneath it. And sort of the idea there, a little bit different, is that really like the root of capitalism and colonialism, these like intertwined projects, is the idea that one can and should own property, and that that's a way to make money. And so kind of when we're thinking about what does equitable housing look like, I think it's really important to challenge the idea that we can and should own things, and that's a desirable outcome, understanding that as like a really colonialist and white supremacist kind of construct. And so what does it look like to build community wealth outside of home ownership and land ownership? And can we decommodify housing so it's not a way for people to make money, and it's a way to build stability and community instead. That's part of that, but there's another part of it that I kind of stepped in like the umbrella.
I wasn't in the script.
You're standing in front.
Oh, because I'm in the script. I can bring it.
Well, basically, I think the other part we added to it was the part about money drives everything. We kind of thought in collaboration of the fact of how our speaker said earlier about the stolen land piece, of how, you know, everyone should be able to have the right to rent, but looking at the fact that money drives everything. So without breaking down the root of, you know, the oppression and everything that's been set in stone the way it is, it starts from the roots down to kind of break it apart. I did not draw that drawing, but I thought as a group we thought that it made, you know, great collaboration to the fact that, you know, the modification, you know, of the land that's being profited for, but it's not being profited for the right reason or the right people. And again, when thinking about who are the folks, you know, and I don't know, what does it look like? And again, I kind of walked in on that course, so I'm just going to add that piece to it. Anyone want to add? John? Anyone else from the group would like to add anything at all?
Anyone else?
I think everyone else kind of
Everyone else, yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone else kind of
because everybody who's got renter stuff has got to go take care of kid. No, this is all of our stuff over here. The one other piece I wanted to find out, we talked about development without displacement, and also that if we don't have power in tenants, we're not going to have power around tenant or renter issues. So making sure that, you know, people who are in Section 8 can go up the ladder to deal with problems without being discriminated against and without being retaliated against. And, you know, things that are like, it's illegal to do that, but then again, it's also illegal to fire your workers when they're starting to unionize, and that happens all the time too. So we need to make sure that tenants have power and protection around that. So,
is there anything anyone else would like to add from that group before we keep going? All right, last group, homelessness. There's a juicy conversation back there. I listened in a little bit. So
Does anybody want to go?
who wants to go?
We'll go. We both go.
Yeah, both go.
Facilitator's going. Okay, changing it up.
Homelessness.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
You're in my way.
All right, so we facilitated the homelessness group, and our image is a composite as well. Seeing home for all, you know, these were the two images that really spoke to everybody in the group. I feel equally.
And I like the imagery here with hands stretching across to show togetherness and stabilization of families. And there's a nice little sidewalk walking up to your happiness. Isn't that wonderful? You gotta spread it on the stick, man. Okay.
So I guess homelessness is such, it's very nuanced. There's a lot of moving parts. I'm very grateful for the engagement that I saw tonight. Sorry, I've been up since 4 and I did the wall mentally, so it's really amazing to see all of everyone coming together. So a lot of the people that I work with feel invisible. They're treated as if they're invisible. They sometimes don't have the best sense. There's lots of things going on. And so when I saw the seeing drawing that, I just find that really powerful. Because I work in downtown St. Paul every single day. I'm doing outreach for 3.5 hours, and I watch all the people, and I'm trying to say this non-judgmentally, I watch all of the people flooding in to go to work, and I will be, you know, talking to somebody who's sleeping on a sidewalk, and they walk by. It doesn't even register. And so I just think it's very important that our homeless community feels seen. I think another piece that was a trend in our group was about housing and the housing crisis that exists in Ramsey County. There's 1,300 single adults on the priority list right now. It takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get housed, and that is based on need, vulnerability, all of the formulas that people way above my pay grade figured out. And I think, yeah, so that was definitely a big piece of it. The shelter system was talked about, how that is going, people's personal experiences, which was amazing to hear. Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Also, we were also talking about the cycle of homelessness. That's very important because you put yourself in a position to have it occurring again and again. Every 6 months, every year, they're back on the street again. It's not ending. You're not seeing it. It's not a reality. So that's the cycle of homelessness once you get yourself put in that position.
Can I add something to this? So I did the bottom drawing, and I wasn't going to come up here and talk about it, but I'm a lawyer, and so I see things in the perspective of rights, and I think that housing really is a right, and it's something that everybody needs to have. And, you know, what good is any other rights that we have if you're going to freeze to death because we live in Minnesota? So, you know, the right to free speech is meaningless if we don't have housing. And so that's what I was really thinking about when I drew the bottom one, was a home for all, and that together, working together, we can create something like that. And I know it's difficult, and I know it's not going to be easy, but it's something that we have to strive for because it's a basic human right. So that's it.
Okay, I know we're getting a little later here. So these are phenomenal. I'm excited by these images. Now we're going to switch quickly over to talking about how we want to move forward from this event. You know, we have been hosting these since spring of this year. Now we're approaching the end of the year. We showed films, CN went over everything very well. And now we're at a point where we need to start taking some action, and we need to start doing some stuff about this. So we want to kind of keep this general, but we also want to talk about some strategy moving forward on how we can take everyone and keep this momentum that we've been building. I mean, I checked out some of the metrics that I get to see on my side from social media, and about 50,000 people were talking about this event in some way or another. We're engaging with it in some way or another. That's a lot of people moving around through this event. So what do we do? What do we do? Let's keep it general. Let's talk about some next steps. I'm going to give a simple step that I like to do. I like to say hello to people I do not know. So when I'm walking, I just say hi. And that's how you build community. So I'm just going to open the floor.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge. In the house.
Like you said, I think communication.
Communication is key.
How can we connect the information, do a better job connecting the resources and information to the people that need it? Connecting. Connecting.
And not even just the people who need it, the people who don't realize they need it.
Right.
Because,
That's a big part of that.
Right? We all know that we're like so close to all being in poverty at this point.
Right?
Frankly.
True.
That brings you to financial counseling.
Financial counseling.
I think coming into a mindset of free of assumption, like I think assumptions are what like keep us apart. And if we come in with that like free of assumption mindset, I don't know what the word would be, but
Free from assumption.
yeah, free from assumption.
I like that.
Free of assumption?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
a little more specific, but City of St. Paul, thinking of passing like a slate of tenant protection policies this winter, and like as much public pressure to like pass those, and also push for more transformative change, like rental caps or tenant opportunity to purchase. Like I think public pressure needs to be on that to make that go through.
So public pressure.
Yeah.
Well, St. Paul tenant protection.
So, tenant protection.
Mm-hmm. Let's go with tenant protection.
The current group of St. Paul tenant policies.
And beyond.
Yeah.
Continuing these conversations that we've had.
Continuing these conversations.
What does effective public pressure look like?
I think like turning out en masse to like city council hearings.
Continuing these conversations.
So turning up to city council meetings.
Knowing who your representatives are.
Knowing who your rep is. Something else that Leon and I were kind of talking about was that, you know, you look at this whole list of people that are here, all the resources we need are already here. So we should share those resources with each other.
Yeah, I was going to say sharing knowledge freely, like there's no, without the idea of barriers, or like you have that knowledge and, you know, like we all do better when we all do better, and so the more we all know, obviously can lead to a lot of really awesome ideas.
So just going to openly share knowledge.
So we don't want to get too specific, but we do kind of want to start talking about strategies. You know, I'm seeing a lot of the same faces showing up here. How do we make this stuff happen?
You put a plan of action together. I mean, you already got a group. I mean, 50,000 people. Put a plan of action together. Form your own organization, be it not-for-profit or not. You can do a little crowdfunding, collect a little money. If everybody gave $100, if you got 1,000 people on Facebook, now you're looking at $100,000. Y'all got vacant apartment buildings around here somewhere. Put the pressure on the city. Give them up. You want it back on the tax roll. This is what we're going to do with it. But you got to have a full plan of action to rehab, what the rent's going to be, the whole nine, so it can be self-sustainable. Yeah, basically, you know, people that you come in inside what support you. Yeah.
So a lot of us have been meeting and organizing this stuff, you know, almost for a year now. We have a lot of the contact information from the people here, but we need to do this in community. We need to be rooted in community when we do this work. So how can we help you? You know, do we need to just arrange more meetings? Do we need to arrange more events? It needs to be led by all of you because it affects all of us.
I was going to say, like, volunteer door knocking is great because it's like if I have a neighbor of mine knocking on my door talking to me about a housing issue, like I'm going to be way more receptive. And also it's like, it's a good thing to get people on board for, especially if you have like a city thing that you're trying to like stop, get past, and it's just like, it's a nice convenient thing to rally behind. Yeah, and just get connected with everyone.
So I love the idea of having a plan. I think it would be good to start that with a vision of what success would look like. What would this place be like if everybody's ideas were successful?
So why don't we pivot and talk about that shortly? What does successful housing look like? What does it look like if this is all going well?
Free housing.
Free housing, I heard? Free housing.
I think, first of all, a little bit backing is like having this available in different languages because, you know, not maybe all this, having an interpreter because there's no access, or how you market this, it only reaches the people who can read and understand the language. So having multiple languages or interpretation available.
Something we talked about was creating, you know, a short video about how all of this has gone and making it available in different languages in order to spread that information.
And I think there's a lot of organizations here, so moving around and taking it to the people and going to different places and sharing that. Because sometimes people can't come, you have to go to the people. So doing it in a way where you're at District 1, you're at D4, you're at all these different places and build a community. All of us have community there.
So going into communities?
Going into community, taking it to the community.
So that would be under moving forward or vision?
Both. It could be
All
in the
right.
middle, like, right, we're stepping into it.
So let's talk vision. Free housing, great idea. What else?
Wages that support the current cost of living.
Wages that support the current cost of living. You were raising your hand.
I'll come back.
We need different ways to take metrics of humans and how to use that to create success. We also need trauma built into some of this. I'm sorry, there's one of two reasons why you wind up in homeless situations, just talking about that one. Either you're long-term traumatized, because when your mama was beating you, you didn't learn how to do the other things, or you've encountered something like a hurricane, a tornado, something else that displaces you, so that's an immediate trauma. And we're not dealing with our human trauma to create success. So we need to measure people differently and outcomes differently.
Yep.
So developing better metrics.
Better metrics.
More
New
informed,
metrics.
more inclusive metrics.
I'm sorry, but if Bhutan can figure out how to take the metrics of happiness in their country, we can figure out how to empower people instead of using all of our statistics for divisiveness.
Vouchers that meet the price of housing.
Vouchers.
Like housing vouchers?
Vouchers that actually meet the cost of housing, because they don't right now. Right. GRH is not enough.
What are they at about right now? Do you know?
I want to say 940, but please don't quote me because
I'm going to quote you right here.
Okay. Witness protection anonymous.
Rats.
That's what it's good for.
Supportive services. Supportive services. So often
Supportive
the people
services.
that are in this situation don't have all the knowledge how to function and how to be successful. If we don't have the services to help educate them while they're learning how to be successful in housing, they're going to continue to fail. And that also includes addressing the barriers that they're facing. Supportive services would help them overcome those barriers.
I would add proactive to that. You know, we're talking about going into communities, like bringing those services to people. You know, I'm working in this industry, and I still don't even know about all the resources out there. So, getting out there.
And clarity, I'm sorry, but whatever the services are there, if I show up one day, I might get one answer. If I show up and bring somebody else, they might get a different answer. We need more cross-pollination to mobilize to move forward. I can't have a different answer every day and left scratching my head at the end of the week. Well, who was right and who was wrong and which way do I go? It's hard enough to decide what your priority is. Is it looking for work to afford the housing? Temporary work? All-day work? Everyday work? Is it chasing my medical? Is it chasing some food? Is it chasing that voucher? And where do I show up to get that? Because I'm glad at least we've made it past the point of bed roulette. When I first got to this state, we were playing bed roulette.
So it's really about the quality of these supported services, right? I mean, you have the intent, but the execution sometimes is sort of lacking, right?
Yeah. Correct.
So, John, I saw a hand up here.
80% to 20% victory in the 2020 St. Paul rent control campaign. That's my vision. Rent control, 80-20.
Rent control wins.
I would say like incentives, so like there's a lot of like punishment if you don't pay, but then could we get like incentives for people who do pay their rent on time and use it like for credit scores, so like some kind of system that would help you get out of renting to own your own home.
So rental incentives?
What I was just going to say was to what
you actually took it from me. But,
Sorry.
no, the gentleman that was in the corner that said we need the resources to support these different issues that people are having, but then you need the knowledge of these resources, because a lot of people don't know what these resources are, which just reiterates what you had said. And then, so that was, you know, you need to connect those two.
Related to that, like technical assistance and the creation of like community land trusts and housing cooperatives.
And emergency transitional housing for people in abusive relationships or who, you know, their house blew up because there was a gas leak. You know, things that we need to deal with that are just going to come up. Even if we could provide everybody with housing, there will always be issues where we need some sort of functional transitional emergency housing.
That's a real thing. I lived in a house that blew up.
Did you?
I
wasn't referencing you.
I'm saying I did. It's true. It happens.
Yeah, it does.
I'm glad that you didn't blow up with the house. Everyone should have a
Anybody else?
To shift the dial that not living in a brick and mortar is not a crime. It's not a crime. Woohoo! To live under a bridge is not a crime. In my opinion.
There's also just too few kinds of housing. We were talking in the rental group about how new development is usually just 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. And that doesn't work for large families, it doesn't work for multi-generational families. There needs to be different things.
Definitely.
More variety in housing.
More variety.
So this is pretty good. I'm feeling good. I'm pumped up. Can't tell. So, is there anything anyone else wants to add before we kind of wrap up for the evening?
Reentry programs for ex-felons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That includes skills training for high wage jobs.
Or expungement, maybe.
So to add to the reentry, housing for people that have the big 3, sex offense conviction, murder, homicide conviction, or meth manufacturing, we are not successful getting people housed if they have the big 3.
Okay. So, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And we'll keep thinking as a team how to move forward from here. But I think we just want to open up those meetings to everyone. I mean, we all really need to be at those meetings. So we'll figure out a way to make that happen. Otherwise, I want to thank the facilitators this evening. I want to thank Cian and Peter. I'm not going to thank Leon. Leon's a star. All right, it's time to go call it a night. Thank you very much, everyone.